This afternoon, I'm talking to Kelly O'Hare. Kelly's a partner at Seaside Creative, which is a local creative business based in Worthing. She's also one of our business ambassadors at Shoreham Academy. So she works with myself and the senior leadership team to help us develop our links with the world of work and understand the world of work better. So it's a real pleasure to have Kelly with us today. So thank you, Kelly, so much for your time, because I know for everybody it's a very an unusual time and quite a busy time, so we really appreciate your time. And we've, as you know, we have young people who are missing out on their opportunity for work experience. So the first question I'd like to ask you really is, can you just give me an idea of what a typical day looks like for you in your business?
Well, that's one of the things that I really like about working in marketing and creative services, is that there is no typical day. You know, that you can have a plan. You can, your Google Calendar is fantastic for telling you what's going on, but one day might be filled with client meetings. The next day you might be editing a video or writing content for a website. You might be running some training, or even doing some training, or you're on site, you're off site. It's so varied. And with our agency, because we're full service and we do everything from photography, video, through to writing, website, social media, it's so broad that there is no typical day. And being a director in the agency, obviously there's a bit of boring business admin involved, but that's part and parcel of running your own business. So, but there isn't really a typical day, which is good.
Clearly, I was going to say, clearly you like the fact that there isn't a typical day.
Yeah,
you like the variety.
Yeah, I mean, because it is a job where you are actually behind a desk quite a lot of the time, but it's really varied. So you're not doing the same thing behind that desk, or you might be out seeing a client. I really like helping the younger members that we have in our team learn more. I like editing their copy, making sure that if I deliver training, they can come along and they do part of the session, and they usually look very scared when they do that, but it just really helps develop. So I really like developing younger members of the team too.
Fabulous. And you saying that, we've students, we're really lucky. We've also got an apprentice who's doing her level 3 apprenticeship with Kelly and Seaside Creative, who's also going to be doing a video interview with us, called Alison. So if you watch this and you want to know more about how you get into this industry, watch the video with Alison Thomas as well, because obviously she's a younger person who started and is working her way up through. So that's fantastic. The two link together really well. So that's brilliant. Thank you, Kelly.
Well, she's obviously under strict instructions to say nothing but good things about where she works. So, believe what you will. It's fine.
Of course. I'll make sure she only says good things. But
yeah, absolutely.
Wonderful. Another thing we talked about, Kelly, were the skills that we encourage our students to think about. So the soft skills that they're developing all through their education and all through their life, that will take them through their life and through their working life. And I asked you, I know it's difficult to do, but I asked you to have a look through those skills and see, for you in your role, what are the top 3? Can you tell us what they are and why?
Well, I did really struggle to choose just 3 from the list that you sent, but thinking about my role as it is now, I would say the absolute top skill is leadership, because I'm the boss. So I have to be the leader. I am responsible for paying somebody's wages, for paying suppliers, for making sure that the client's work is done on time. The buck stops with me. So leadership is an absolute key skill. And I've actually worked quite hard on developing that through things like peer mentoring programs, because it's not something that, even if it comes naturally, it's not something you're going to get right. Experience, and you can learn from other people's experience. So meeting other business people who are in a similar position, really, really does help with leadership. And the other thing that goes hand in hand with that really is problem solving. Now, as a marketing agency, that is exactly what we do for clients, no matter whether it's a video or social media. We look at the problem they have and we solve it, through a marketing, idea, which means that we can take the pain away that they're suffering. So we're problem solving all the time for clients. I also have to problem solve for my business. At the moment, things are tough all over. We're all sitting at home. We have an office. We can't even get into it. So, we have to problem solve about, having Zoom meetings with the team, making sure that different people are doing different things, about, what we can and can't do. We've had to work very flexibly with clients. And it's a whole new set of problems that I didn't think I'd be solving this year. But we are getting there. Again, I think at this moment, you have to stay positive. When you're running your own business, solve problems in a positive way, you're not going to get anywhere. You cannot have the mindset of negativity. You're in business because you want to succeed. So if you want to be successful, you have to be positive. And it has to go hand in hand, because it will not happen if there's any negativity. I often use the thing about positivity when I'm training in social media as well, because it's, if you're writing a social media post about your business, I always tell people to think, what does this say positively about my business or about me? Because if it's not positive, if you're commenting on something and it's not positive or not reflecting something in a positive light, then that reflects badly on you and makes you seem like a negative person, and nobody wants to work with negative people. So you have to be seen as positive, as achieving things, as successful, and all of those three things, leadership, problem solving, and positivity, all go hand in hand with running a successful business. So I would say those are the top three things for me at the moment.
Yeah, what I'm really interested to hear, because it's pretty much everybody I've spoken to, Kelly, has talked about positivity and how, whether they're in a sales support role within a big company or like yourself running your own business, positivity comes up time and time again. In the situation that we're currently in, and I'm like yourself, I work for myself, and you have to find ways of being creative and keeping your business going. What keeps you positive? What keeps you staying positive?
I think it's partly the fact that there are still solutions out there. I mean, you just see that how the world has very naturally moved to things like we're doing now, like having a Zoom meeting instead of an actual face-to-face meeting. I really enjoyed being in a big room with lots of people and networking and meeting people. But since March, I've delivered online training to groups of over 20 people, and at first I was like, oh my god, how am I going to see all these little faces on the screen while I'm trying to deliver my PowerPoint over here, and this is but it just works. I do think there is an element of human contact that is slightly missing from all of this, but I think the younger people leaving college just now will absolutely naturally move towards much more digital contact, which they will feel that it's fine. I think, sorry, what was the second bit of your question?
It's really about you personally, in your situation, especially when, like, you're very much like me. We like networking, we like engaging with people, which is why we're in the businesses we're in. But when you suddenly are sat at home, what keeps you lifted? Is there a little tip that you can give to a young person, particularly who's trying to learn virtually and is thinking, well, I'm used to being with my friends and suddenly I'm sitting here, I'm just staring at a screen and I'm trying to learn? What keeps you up and motivated? Is there one little thing that you do? I know you love singing. I don't know whether the creative element keeps you lifted.
Yeah, I think there's always, you have to think about your end goal. You know, why are you doing this task? No, and you can't use because my teacher made me. I can't, you know, every time I write a blog for a client, for example, I'm not thinking, oh, I've got to write this blog because my client wants me to. It's about the topic of the blog and what I want the blog to achieve. So yes, of course I want the client to approve the blog and like the blog, but I know after many years experience that will probably happen anyway if I can, you know, actually achieve what the blog needs to. So you know, we write blogs on really, really dry subjects, things like flooring and finance and things like that, you know, sound super boring to young people. But actually, those clients are paying us to get more people into their stores or online to buy products so they can make money, which keeps them paying us. So if you can find a reason behind what you're doing and you focus on that, then that gets you getting the work done. Now, if you're running your own business, it's actually because I want my business to be successful. Everything I do is because I want my client to say, I work with Kelly and her business is amazing and they've achieved this and you should work with them too. No matter whether the blog was a bit boring or not. So yeah, to always find the reason and hold on to that.
That's really valuable. And one great thing about these videos is helping young people to see that everything they're learning in education, even if they don't realise right now, it does prove useful to them. What I'm interested from you, Kelly, is the route that, you know, the route that you took. So what is it about this industry and how did you get where you are? Did you do formal learning or did you kind of fall into it? What sort of happened?
I thought, oh, I want to do something working with people, and I wanted to go to university, and so I looked at university and I thought, oh, that's about people. I'm going to do public relations at university. And there was only 2 universities in the country back then that did a BA in public relations, and it wasn't even a full BA. I had to do it as a joint honours course with English. I think I'm one of the few actual BAs that is still working in the industry that their degree is about. There's I know so many people who got a degree of a BA in geography and are now working in an office or aren't. It's one of those things that yes, a degree opens doors for you, and a lot of them, and you don't necessarily have to do a job that's to do with your degree. But I suppose my degree was vocational. I did enjoy it. And I ended up doing work experience for a big PR agency in Chelsea. And they asked me to work for them, but I actually had another year of my degree to go. So I said no. And I didn't really want to work in London anyway. I wasn't really a London girl. So I got a job straight after my degree at a very small agency up near Colchester. It was actually not similar times, but there was a recession happening when I left university. So I just applied anywhere for junior account executive roles, and I moved to Colchester. I didn't know anybody in Colchester. So I left Plymouth, went back home to Sussex, where my family's from, and then moved to Colchester, where I didn't know anyone at all. So my very first job, I was a bit lonely for a little bit, but luckily I played rugby at the time, so I joined the rugby club. They had a women's team. It was all fine, and then I just worked my way up through agencies. It was a small agency, so there wasn't a progression that I could do in that agency. So I got a job as an account manager, and I moved from Colchester to Reigate and worked there. And then I, got another senior account manager role, and I finally became the head of PR at an agency called Bellman in Wivelsfield, which is near Haywards Heath.
Okay.
And then while I was there, that agency was a bit of an insight into, actually my first insight into running your own company. I could do this myself. I could go and make, get my own clients, and realizing how much we were charging and how much. So that was when I started to formulate the idea of having my own business. And in order to help them save money, I went part-time down to 3 days a week. Got a couple of small clients, and then I left, and I actually got quite a big contract straight away for a large construction firm, highways maintenance, which again is another quite dry subject, but ask me anything about asphalt, I can tell you. So I ended up sort of being an outsourced PR manager for about 5 years. And then I had a maternity career break, and I saw a job advertised for an epilepsy charity, and I actually had epilepsy as a teenager. And I just thought, oh, I know lots about that. I'm going to apply for that role. And I got the job because I could put on the form my own epilepsy, and they were like, okay. And I loved that role, working for young epilepsy. I actually helped them transform from being the National Centre for Young People with Epilepsy, which is a bit of a mouthful, to becoming Young Epilepsy. So I facilitated the whole of that due diligence. It was a really nice, meaty project. We rebranded. We had to, run focus groups with 800 staff. They had a school, a college. It's a big thing. Lots of different types of audiences, really high quality medical centre. So it was really interesting, but it was based in Lingfield and I lived in Worthing. I ended up starting up on my own again, basically, because I just couldn't cope with the driving. And back then, it was only 10 years ago, but flexible working wasn't so much of a thing. They let me work
very recent,
1 day a week, but it wasn't enough really. So I started off on my own again, and started Ask for the Moon, which is the business I ran first, in my spare bedroom while I had very small children, and grew it very slowly, deliberately really, because having small children and running your own business in your own house is probably not conducive to success. I wouldn't recommend it. But as they got bigger and they both went to school and those types of things, I could go out and win bigger clients. And I ended up, moving into an office, taking on a member of staff, and just, growing the business organically, because as you do all of those things, your overheads increase. You need more money coming in to make sure that your business can cope with all of that. So, don't ever forget that you can't just grow your business. If you do win a big contract, you're going to need to pay people to help you run that contract.
Absolutely.
You're probably going to need, offices. You're going to need different software. You're going to need to pay for phones, high quality broadband. All of those overheads that inexperienced business owners will not understand. So I joined Worthing and Ada Chamber of Commerce as well around that time, and I would really say that that really, really helped me just learn how to grow my business, understand about growing my business, just make me a better business person, because I was already really good at the marketing. I could do all the work for the clients, but actually keeping my business going and understanding all of that. So if you do want to start a business or grow a business, I would really, really recommend speaking to your local chamber or even your local college, because I know that there are all sorts of different types of hot house things run. Chichester College does a hot house thing. I think Worthing College will do business. So there are lots of different business courses out there.
Yes, and some young people can you can start a business at any age. You don't have to have left
absolutely.
education. I mean, I work with some students who have started their businesses when they were 12 or 13 because they found something that they were interested in. So don't ever think as a young person, you know, I have to wait. If you've got an idea,
absolutely.
you
And
know,
if you're
for
running your business about something that you love, then it's not work. You know, you're just doing the thing that you love doing, which, you know, is absolutely the zenith of having a brilliant job. But never ever forget the business admin that goes hand in hand with that. And if you can't do that yourself, you need help. Get the help. Find someone like the chamber who can find people that will help you, and that will take the stuff you don't like, get rid of it. You know, as soon as I could pay someone to do my accounts, I did. And I was rubbish at it. I hated doing it. You know, didn't like doing it. Now it's loads better. You know, my accounts are loads better. My accountant is much happier. I'm much happier. It's fine. You know, if I had my last, I think Bill Gates said that if he only had, you know, $500 left, he would spend it on PR, which is fantastic. But personally, if I only had £500 left, I would spend it on my accountant.
It's about recognizing what you're good at, isn't it? And you know, and young people, you're not going to be good at everything. It's okay not to be good at everything.
Don't get bogged down. Don't think I need to know how to do this. I must be able to, I'm a failure because I can't do this. You know, we've all made huge mistakes. I made some hideous mistakes with my accounts, and I really had to dig myself out of a hole. I mean, 10 years ago, I walked into my accountant literally with carrier bags full of paper. Here's my receipts. And he was like, oh.
But you were popular.
No, no, I wasn't. But I did make myself learn it to be better at working with them. But it's not my job.
No, it's good to know a little bit, isn't it, about if you run your own business, it's good to know a little bit about the different elements. But actually, there comes a point where you have to say, well, you know, this is what I know I'm really good at, and that's where I make my money. So I'm going to pay somebody else who's really good at.
Understanding cash flow is absolutely what you need to learn.
There are many young people who are finished with education and are now thinking, right, how do I give myself a fighting chance going out into the world of employment? Particularly if they're interested in the creative industries, is there any specific signposting that you would do, or around different courses, especially if they're stuck at home for the next couple of months and there's not, you know, they haven't got the freedom that they would normally have to go out and, you know, and start an apprenticeship yet, for example? What could they be doing right now?
I would absolutely, if you haven't started a LinkedIn profile, join LinkedIn.
I believe you are going to be supporting the students in creating that profile. That's a really, really important thing to do, isn't it?
I've edited the brochure that was sent over, so I've added a few more bits onto there. But LinkedIn is the world's largest professional network. You know, 4 out of 5 professionals in the UK are on LinkedIn. So whatever you are interested in, that there will be someone on LinkedIn who is either doing it. There might even be someone who's offering to mentor people. You know, there are lots of educational establishments are on LinkedIn. So, and when you do join your LinkedIn profile, if you put in Shoreham Academy or whatever school you've been to, then LinkedIn will also say what other of your connections also went to that school. So you can have a bit of common ground with those people. And again, don't be afraid to ask. Just because it's a virtual platform, you know, you can build your connections, you know, usually by connecting to older people with lots of connections. But one of the really good ways, when you're brand new on LinkedIn, one of the really good ways to build your connections very quickly is to join a group. Because once you are in the same group as other people, you can connect with all the other people in that group. So if you are interested in catering and you join LinkedIn, there are catering groups on LinkedIn that have 65,000 members. and you will then be allowed to connect with those people. Don't connect with all 65,000, but you can connect with those people because you are in the same group. So don't think that you're going to join LinkedIn and not be able to connect to anyone.
That's really good advice.
There's loads of free help. LinkedIn's got lots of stuff on its YouTube channel. It actually runs its own learning platform, because Microsoft owns LinkedIn, and they bought Lynda as well, the learning platform. So there's lots and lots of free help out there. Do remember that LinkedIn isn't like normal social media. It is you in business. So we don't want pictures of you on holiday, or at a party, or drinking or anything like that. All of which I have seen from much older and wiser people who should know better.
So have I.
Yes.
Really, it's your. I always think of it as your kind of professional CV, if you like.
Yeah.
And
it's your living CV as well, yes. because the beauty of it being online is that anytime it needs updating, you just pop on and update it. Which,
yes.
as people at the start of your careers, you do want to be updating it all the time. It's slightly less important when you're established, because you don't have a new job to add on. You don't have a little bit of experience. I like going in and changing mine, just because LinkedIn, from its own, works very hard at its own SEO. So if you are updating your LinkedIn profile, it ranks you higher than other people because you've added new content, just like Google does for adding new content. One of the caveats about LinkedIn is, once you do have a profile, and because it works very hard at its own SEO, if someone searches for your name, so say you went to a careers fair and they went, oh, that guy, Joe Bloggs, I can't remember what school he went to. If they typed Joe Bloggs into Google, then the LinkedIn profile will come top. Not anything else that you've done, not your Instagram profile, not any of that. So if your LinkedIn profile isn't good enough, those potential employers will see it. And I know every single employer worth their salt will look you up on social media the minute they are thinking about hiring you. So if you have any social media skeletons in your cupboard, I suggest you remove them as soon as you are seriously looking for employment. And
make your personal social media
absolutely private. So rather dubious email address at the moment, which I'm trying to get him to change, but he's not looking for a job yet, so
but it's amazing how when we were teenagers, there wasn't a record of everything you did or everyone you spoke to, but now there is, and you just need to be aware of that when you think about if someone's going to look you up. If you're going for a job interview and someone's going to look you up and say, Becky Tonks, she does do a lot of partying, and so make sure that your private social media is private and that your LinkedIn social media is professional. I think that's really important, isn't
it? Absolutely. LinkedIn is you at work.
Yes.
But if you've been to a party where other people have taken pictures of you and posted it on Instagram, then you will not have control of that. Once something goes into the ether and somebody else posts it,
yes,
and maybe HR departments, some of them are so big, these HR departments, that they have employees who that's their specific purpose on their due diligence of recruiting. Do they want to recruit someone who's got 50 pictures of them drinking various cocktails? Does that give a good impression? And so I wouldn't, don't be surprised if you went to an interview and one of them says, well, what do you like doing when you're not at work? With a slight tilt to the head, looking a bit, because they're not allowed to ask you. You can keep personal information personal, but they will have already formed an opinion from what they've seen.
Yeah, no, that's really good to know. And also, for me with LinkedIn, I find if there's an industry sector you're interested in, you can follow different companies. So for example, with your company, Kelly, with Seaside Creative, if you as students are interested in the creative industry, once you've got your LinkedIn profile, follow Seaside Creative, follow other creatives, so that you can start to see what you're posting. That's really valuable, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, at the moment, we've sort of changed our social media policy to literally all we're doing is posting stuff that is valuable to people who are in the same boat as us. So, you know, how to run your social media properly in a crisis, it's nothing about selling on there. It's literally top tips on different things to do. But think about your mentors. You know, I follow Arianna Huffington because, you know, she started her online newspaper as an early adopter years and years ago. You know, she doesn't run it anymore, but it's still called the Huffington Post. You know, and now she's, you know, she interviews a lot of really good different people as well on her weekly podcast. So loads and loads of people follow Richard Branson. I think it's a bit boring, but there's, you know, there's lots of other really good people out there that you can follow. And you know, especially if you've got an industry that, you know, you really want to get into, find some of those key players and follow them. They won't link in with you.
No.
But you can follow them.
Yeah. No, that's really good advice, and hopefully all our students will get their LinkedIn profiles up and started. So Kelly, thank you so much. I think what I might do is I might make the LinkedIn part of it a separate video so that the students can specifically watch your advice on LinkedIn, because that was really valuable. That was really valuable. Kelly, thank you for your time. I'm sure young people, I'm sure you'll hear from Kelly in other ways, because as I say, she works with Shoreham Academy and helps support the senior team in thinking about how we move forward and develop support for you students around the world of work, because it's, especially in these times, we want to make sure you understand what's going on out there. So Kelly, thank you for your time, and good luck with your business in this very unusual time.